VIDIZMO eases its customers by either automating the configuration process through VIDIZMO Setup Wizard or performing the configuration manually if you are configuring Azure Blob Storage as your storage provider coupled with transcoding services using VIDIZMO On Premise Encoder. Setup Wizard in VIDIZMO allows you to initially set up your portal's storage provider and transcoder for a seamless user experience throughout the application usage. In this video, we will be looking at configuring Azure storage with VIDIZMO On Premise Encoder using the Setup Wizard. VIDIZMO allows the portal administrators and managers to configure Azure storage with VIDIZMO On Premise Encoder using Setup Wizard in a portal. In your Azure portal, provide the owner role to the user whose credentials are used to configure your Azure storage in the subscription under which you create your storage account. Manually configure and deploy the on-premise encoder on a dedicated machine as content processing and encoding are hardware resource-consuming processes. A dedicated machine for this purpose improves the performance of the application more efficiently as compared to the processes that are running on the same server where the application is deployed. By the way, your previous content will remain intact and will be served from your pre-configured storage provider, unless you choose to migrate data. In the case of data migration, old content is copied to the new content storage and the copy of the content residing on older storage is purged based on the policy set in the portal. Provide the owner role to the user whose credentials are used to configure your Azure storage account in the subscription under which you create your storage account. Also, please make sure you turn off the multi-factor authentication settings against that user. To disable multi-factor authentication settings, disable MFA from the Azure portal for the specific user whose credentials you will be used for setup. Also, you need to make sure that the name you use to create your Azure Media Service and Azure Storage is not the same as a recently deleted media service or storage account in your Azure portal. To get the subscription ID under which you will create your Azure storage account, you need to go to Azure Subscriptions and copy the ID of your subscription. This ID will later be used while configuring storage via Setup Wizard. From the portal's homepage, click on the navigation menu from the top left of your screen and select Control Panel under Admin. From the left-hand side navigation pane in the Control Panel, select Setup Wizard and click on Run Wizard again. From the Configuration tab, select Azure to configure it as your VIDIZMO storage from a list of available options in the drop-down menu. Select VIDIZMO On Premise Encoder to configure it as encoder for your system, from a list of available options in the drop-down menu, and click Next to proceed to the new tab. From the Storage tab, you can select Global or Government as the subscription type. For this video, we will be selecting Global as subscription. Type or copy the username and password with the required permissions and settings as your login ID. This is the email address that you use to sign in to your Azure portal. Now enter the ID of your subscription package in Azure as subscription ID. Enter the name that you want to set as storage name for your storage account in Azure. By the way, this name must be globally unique. Enter the name that you want to set as resource group name for your resource group in Azure, where you will organize your storage and media service together. This name must be unique within your Azure subscription. Now select the physical location for your Azure servers to form a list of available options in the drop-down menu as location. Select standard_GRS as your replication. Having geo-redundant storage enabled, your data is durable even in the case of a complete regional outage or a disaster in which the primary region isn't recoverable. Select the standard_Verizon as your CDN SKU profile configured on your Azure CDN account with various privileges associated with each account. By the way, if you select Azure Government as your subscription, this step will not be required because there is no CDN integration with streaming endpoints in Azure Government data centers. From the Transcoder tab, you can use the encryption toggle button to enable or disable encryption. You may leave the Migrate Content checkbox unchecked. This is used to migrate data from your previous storage provider to one you have configured. Once you're done, click Done to run the Setup Wizard and a notification will appear briefly stating, Setup Wizard started successfully. You can track the progress of the Setup Wizard for storage and transcoder configuration through workflows in the control panel. Well, that's all for this video. Check out some of the other guides to learn more about VIDIZMO. Stay tuned until next time.